Perfect. So I'll share the screen here and we'll take a look at the morning update, if you will. So let's take a look at what we had in terms of news, right? We had the presidential debate last night along with inflation data here pre-market today. So two very important factors. Realistically, geez, let me see here. Realistically, like the main thing that we were looking at was the inflation data that came out pre-market here. That was one of the main events that we had on the session. And core PCE numbers, they dropped this morning, right? The US Department of Commerce released its personal income and outlays report for May. Most eyes will be trained on the inflation data. Specifically, the core personal consumption expenditure index will provide future further evidence of whether the lack of progress is lowering inflation earlier in the first quarter of the year with a bump in the road or worrying trend. So April disinflation appears to resume, but 1 month does not make a trend. Now, if I take a look at financial juice, right, this is where you can get your news from realistically. This is where you can break a lot of things down, which I do like to take a look at, especially with these figures. If we can find them, that'd be fantastic. What happened here? Here they are. These are the numbers. So you can see what the numbers look like here. Generally speaking, we had a pretty much lower than the prior, but kind of in line with expectations on most fronts here, right? So markets initially did rally off that news, but pulled back a decent bit here off the overnight movement and this overnight, or I guess pre-market, just before the market opens, this little reoffer. So as we saw, the expectations here, let me just pull them up again. Where is it? So the expectations for the PCE, I don't know why I closed it before, but now I gotta find it. So there we go. So here we have the numbers, right? The expectations 2.6 was forecasted. Actual came out 2.6 for the US PCE. Year over year. So in line with expectations, nothing too crazy. The previous was 2.7%. So we're seeing a slow decline towards that 2% marker that the Federal Reserve is looking for. We also have the USPC price index, the month over month. 0% was the actual, which is pretty solid, right? The previous was 0.3%. And then we also have the year over year actual 2.6% as expected. Previous was 2.8. So a slight little decrease here in the inflation figures, which is good necessarily, right? It puts the Fed where it wants to be in terms of the data and the figures. Very well, not very close, but we're edging closer towards that 2% goal that the Fed has. When they're confident in the inflation path, they'll start considering making the first move in interest rate cuts. Yesterday, we had some news actually that came out from, what was his name? I think like Bostic, that was talking about potentially 4 cuts into next year. So they're starting to increase their confidence that they will be cutting fairly soon, realistically, which is very interesting. Overall, several Fed officials insist that they'll need several months more of data to attain that confidence and see how Wall Street bets and other analysts are reacting to this. So the topic was a big one in the presidential debate last night, serving as a central theme and barometer for the economy. Tariffs were also discussed, as well as impacts that the national debt, immigration, and tax legislation might have in relation to prices. In fact, that's how the showdown kicked off, with moderators Jake Tapper and Dana Bash flagging the economy as the issue that voters consistently say is their top concern. So what we have here, more on the debate. Many statements, numbers, and claims were touted in last night's presidential debate, but many of the takeaways focused on the demeanor and coherency or lack thereof that both candidates displayed on the stage, making decision making at the ballot box can be dependent on the temperament and abilities, but also check out what each of these candidates said about the specific areas of the economy. You can look at that, like obviously there's replays and whatnot. For investors looking to play the elections through the market instruments, there are many politically driven Republican and Democratic ETFs, but I prefer maybe towards or on inflation day, on election day, I'll be probably looking at the futures. So in terms of some of the other news, we have Nike earnings, I believe, from yesterday, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see. Yeah, Nike earnings from yesterday dropping significantly here, pre-market and after hours on Thursday, after the sportswear giant cut its guidance, citing increased macro uncertainty, worsening forex effects, and the softness in China. Nike's adjusted profit topped estimates, but revenue fell 2%, with Wall Street expecting a 1% gain. And a comeback at this scale takes time, CFO Matthew Friend said during the earnings call, and executives also acknowledged the lack of innovation at Nike, especially in most recent fiscal year as competitors gain traction in the fitness and running categories. But management also aims to double the growth of product pipeline by the end of 2025. Now, today was the main thing that we were looking for and keeping eyes out on was the inflation data, right? It's over. It's gone through. Now we can focus on consumer sentiment that comes out at 10 a.m. today. We have Fed's Bowman and Fed's Daily speaking today, two Fed speakers, which are going to be in the news, as markets have tried to push into highs on the session, pulling back right now. So there's not too much news that outlines movement on the day session. We'll see how this kind of shapes up, but we've seen multiple days of continued upside momentum in these markets, which has been going fairly strong. And is Friday the day after this PCE report and after this inflation? Is this going to be the day that we actually start tumbling lower? Now, if we take a look at the analysis on the S&P 500 futures and the NASDAQ here as well, like I'll be looking at both markets. But realistically, as long as we hold this mid 50 on the S&P, we're trying to escape outside the larger distribution, which would put some pressures on, right, the upside, which I'd like to see if we're going to continue this momentum. We came into a pretty strong resistance point that sits in and around that mid 70 realistically. So we failed at that area and prices have turned lower. So if the buy side is going to come out today, we're going to want to see this like mid 50 hold realistically. There's also an area yesterday that proved to create a lot of volume and a lot of imbalance at that 40, right? Thousands of lots passively buying, right? Coming in on the bid side at that area, which eventually broke lower, but now sitting above that region into that mid 40 is going to be another interesting area to continue some of this upside. So right now we've pulled lower. I'd imagine there could be some kind of limited buy pressure that tries to push prices higher off this open to begin with, and then we'll see what happens, right? There is consistent sell pressure going on in the market right now, right? Let's not lie to ourselves, but as long as we hold this like mid to low 50 on the S&P 500, I could see the potential for that buy side trying to step into prices. Now, what else we have here? With the NASDAQ and tech is a lot stronger, honestly, right? Realistically, it is the beefier market right now over the last few days. But like I said, pre-market, we've pulled to the downside significantly after that news event, right? We've just cleaned off of these weekly highs and tumbled lower. There's a pivotal area, right? You can see, where to go? If I pull over here, right? NASDAQ, we cleaned up the auction in and around this 160 area. And what happened was prices started selling from that region, right? Especially with this news this morning, I guess kind of helped to drive some of that weakness, if you will. Right now, we're at an interesting spot into this 070, 080. It's the start of a larger distribution. So just like the S&P, they're both sitting at these key areas to dictate whether we're going to see some more of this downside or not. If we start failing through these areas, right, there's most likely going to be a continued sell notion in these prices. and I'll be looking for some of that downside press, which could take us down into that 0.20, which is going to dictate the next potential move in the NASDAQ. So as things stand, both assets are coming into a very pivotal spot to see if that downside would want to continue this momentum move. But I don't necessarily see us just like immediately opening and dropping like a billion points right away. I'd imagine there could be some kind of buy side and profit taking that takes this before we could potentially sell. We're at two very important areas right now on both of these assets. So of course, right, there is some decent sell side pressure that's coming in on these markets pre-market, but let's see how this shapes up. So with that being said, Ray, we'll put a few more people here on the mic as we get ready to wrap up June.
Good morning, Victoria.
Morning, Steven. How's it going?
Going well. How are you?
Not bad. Getting ready for a week of no markets.
Yeah, it's probably going to be pretty quiet next week.
Yeah. I'm ideally not looking at these markets next week, but we'll see how that goes. So I'll just stop the share and you can go ahead. Take a look at some of this oil.
All right. Are you recording?
Yes, sir. Maybe. Now I am.
Oh, there you go. All righty. Well, good morning, TRADEPRO Academy. Good morning, Victoria. Hope everybody's doing well today. The oil market is up a bit. We opened about 60 cents higher than we opened on yesterday. You can see that the Globex came in. Yesterday was kind of a push day in the day session, but the Globex opened in the VWAP and pushed up to 82.72 for a Globex high about 5:30 this morning. Since then, we've kind of come back down. And so we are still between the pivot, which is at 81.45, and R1, which is at 82.34. The VWAP is above, the open is above, and we're just kind of working price action down. Trend traders, our trends have gone negative, so we'll be stocking a short. We'll let this little push up right here stop, and once the momentum on that turns, then we can get short and run it back down towards the pivot, more than likely. We are on the derivative, so oil will run outside the derivative if it has a reason to, but it doesn't do it that often. So the derivative level of 81.85 is providing a fairly good little bit of support at the moment. But you break that to the downside, and then you can get short with confidence. If you want to get long, you just have to be long. I don't really know that that's a very good idea. I suppose you could use the open, but it's so close to the VWAP. Probably not a good idea to fade this market. So we'll watch it and trade it. Let you know what's up. Victoria, back to you.
Perfect. Morning, everyone. Let me know if you have any questions here. We are just waiting. There's about like 8 minutes until this market opens. Realistically, they're still selling pre-market here. Just consistent selling all in all. Coming close to some very important areas. We're trading them right now. Let's see if he's around. Fatty on here. Let me just open one thing here. I'll get to you guys. All right. Yeah, it's Friday. It's the end of the month. Capital preservation mode is on for sure. What are the white lines? Oh, levels. These are white lines are intermediate levels that aren't necessarily like massive distribution ledges, but like good enough levels for me to look for trades. What else do we have here? Will the room be closed next week? Yeah, I'm gonna send an email about that. Where the hell is that coming from?
Maybe funny.
That was for me, sorry. Apologies. So yeah, I'll send an email about the room next week. But yeah, next week, like there's 2 full trading days next week. Well, 3 if you count Friday, but like Friday after the holidays. Can I explain about cleaning up auctions? Yeah, so like typically when like an unfinished auction, if you will, is a region that has like an extended area of like low volume. So it's a little easier to like define it as like these like red volume areas because the lowest level of volume realistically in prices. So that's what I define as an unfinished auction. Obviously, excuse me, the more extended the area is, like the bigger the region is that we care about. So when you have an area like on the Nasdaq here, right? This is a large region. You have between like 0.80 up to like 0.60 area. It's pretty big. So when we go and complete that realistically, we understand that prices have created a downside move, right? That create that like a low auction area because it happened from a quick move to the downside. So when you go and complete it, meaning you go fill it, there's the expectation that there's the continuation to the downside to continue the original move that created this low volume push.
Good morning, Vic. Good morning, Bugsy. Good morning, Trade Pros.
Good morning, Patty. How's it going?
I'm good. I'm good. Hope you guys are good as well. You're going to the mountains today, Bugsy? Leaving today?
I am. We were gonna leave yesterday, but it rented, and so they're checking out this morning, and we're gonna go out this afternoon.
Okay, fine. Yeah, like we accomplished that big target on Nasdaq, honestly, like that I was looking for yesterday, which is like 2150, 2160 on Nasdaq, and right now is pulling back. I think like okay, that pullback right now is like anticipated after you accomplish such a big target. But like for buyers, I don't think on Nasdaq you should let it below like 220, 230 area because like we shouldn't pull back all the way down to 980, 970 to find buyers. The ledge that sits at 2030 as well as the volume, I think is gonna be the area to hold in the morning, and I'm gonna watch for that. Try to get long around 230, 220 on Nasdaq. Right now, sellers seem to be in control after we kind of punched into that 260 area, 160, and yeah, we'll go from there. That's the only trade, honestly, that I'm looking for this morning. S&P, like I guess using the idea of the pivot as well, like 48 to 50 should hold here. Shouldn't get back all the way into that distribution. 200,000 on the daily volume, so should be good.
Yeah, not bad pre-market here. A lot of selling going on. Let's see if they pop it up a little. Yeah, like, well, realistically, if we continue the acceptance, like, let's say we pop into this like 60 area on the spoos and they just like start selling, it's gonna be hard to look for the long side. Like, I don't want to be buying all the way down to like 5,500. You know what I mean? Like, we're coming back into some bearish structure right now. They're trying to accept lower. Let's see off this open what happens, because it's coming up. A few seconds here.
There's the open.
There goes the open. Volatility on this. Pretty aggressive open here. Very aggressive. It like popped up and like re-offered. They're selling this pretty hard right now at this open.
Yeah.
Give it some time here. Nasdaq just dumping right now. Let's see. No, just you gotta just give it some time. There's a lot of sell pressure that's happening in this market right now. But like trying to sell lows in like random areas that I'm not close to is not what I want to do at all.
Yeah. Neither is buying too early, especially when
Yeah,
it's coming down that hard.
there's another thing. Mainly interested in seeing this S&P potentially into these like mid to high 50s. Some buy pressure is trying to come out, but just look how every time we react, like the seller just like kind of thumps in. S&P going on a bid, Nasdaq going on a nothing. I Might try low on Nasdaq. It's like failing to follow through though. What do you think, Fetty?
To try the short here.
No, I'm looking for a potential
Or
long.
long. I want to see a little lower, like 30. I'm just waiting.
Yeah, there's a huge buyer on SPOOs. Look at that big buyer on the SPOOs.
Yeah, wow, that was on the
Mid
offer.
50. Nasdaq's so much weaker.
It is.
I'm gonna take my hand long on Nasdaq, see if we can actually hold this bid. Zero 0.45 NQ. Another day, another divergence. Jesus. Here comes Nas.
Nice, nice pick of it.
Let's see if it follows through, because like S&P getting like 1 billion sellers coming in at this stupid 58. We're gonna start cutting some of this Nas. Around the 0.70. I'm gonna cut some and then see if we can just turbo gigabid. I was looking at the SPOOs too, but like it kind of just popped a little aggressively without me. Now it's up almost 40 freaking points here, baby. They can move above that 0.80 on the NAS and like this like 60 on the SPOOs. I think we could be cooking. Yeah, yeah, this is low day. Let's fucking go 0.85 trading or around at least. SPOOs into that 0.60 right now. Let's see. NAS is just continuously on the bid, which I like. Just 0.85 struggling on NAS right now. We can bid above this area. You have 0.95, 100 above that are pretty good targets. Yeah, put some limits at 105 on NAS to fill more. Just be cautious about 0.95 delta barrier on NASDAQ that's starting off. S&P not seeing the turbo bid it started off with. Failures here a bit. Well done, Boris. S&P trying to catch the bid, I think. And this is a lot of catching up to do if this is if these guys are going to converge back together.
Like the short here, I tried the short 85, 86. Kind of missed that long.
Looking at these spoos kind of getting a little stuck into this high. There's a big seller on the spoos too. Look at all this negative delta shaping up here on these on this S&P. Nasdaq showing some signs of weakness here. But I'm a firm believer of these longs. The ES, like they started buying at 48. I know it kind of sucks, but it's life. I'm watching these spoos rotating around this 60. Nasdaq back into 0.90. See if we can pop through the 0.95. That would get these guys on a strong continuation higher. Let's see, here's some NASDAQ juice. Nice bid. Taking more into this 105 area. Large delta
Nice.
there.
Nice, Vic, nice. Good trade, bro.
This might be the only one needed.
Yeah.
Let's see here. NASDAQ continuation. We trade into that like almost 120 here. I'm just gonna leave like 2 of these on, and then whatever happens, happens. And we'll leave it at that right now. Everything else, like, I'm not necessarily looking to start like selling things or fading things. What's a SPOOS? The S&P 500. Come on. Come on. Yeah, we're into that 60 area on these SPOOs right now. We had a lot of negative delta that like shaped up at this like 58 area though. NASDAQ continuously touting higher, right? There's a strong bid in these markets. Look at that climb on NAS. S&P, I gotta watch out into this like low 60 right now because like they're seemingly a little stuck, like NASDAQ as well. Interesting area right now on the S&P into these like 59s, 58s, large negative delta built up. They got stuck into about 61 on the SPOOs. NASDAQ 120, right? 120 is a big area. 132 has like a huge negative delta block there.
There's a big buyer that just came in on NASDAQ 115, 116 just now. Trying to push above.
Stick him. I'm starting to look for a failure, honestly, on these spoos. Maybe 61, 60, 60, 61 maybe. Let me see here. Let me take a gander. It's just Nasdaq's like too strong right now. If they get like trapped, okay, and freaking hallelujah. But you have the bounce off that 58 so far, which is like a lot of negative delta that's like holding that support structure there. A lot of buying continues. Let's see. Still long the Nas. I'm just watching these spoos because they're building up like decent delta here. He's just trying to short this like against this like strong ass Nas. Like, careful. Big sellers just keep getting eaten up here on the spoos.
Nasdaq keeps climbing higher too. Like other than that attempt to sell at 85, like it has been straight buying. You're
Yeah.
almost approaching that like a 150, 160 again, the top that we created on the pre-market. So yeah.
Yes, position's up like 100 points.
Yeah, great trade, Vic. Let's go.
Don't gotta do much else right now. Huge buying on the spoos right now into these highs. If they reoffer this area, honestly, I'll probably try a little short. It's a big if. They got a lot of work to do.
I'm looking to this area too on Nasdaq, like 140, 150. I can't fit into that, and then I'll try to short.
Spoos are trying to offer here, not really doing much right now. 500 into this 62.75. 400 on the bid eats up that offer, no problem. I'll take a shot into this 63, small size on like some micros on spoos. 3.5 point stop. I don't really want to sell Nasdaq, to be honest.
Yeah, Nasdaq isn't giving that sign right now. There's just a big delta around 32. Some accumulated offers into 48, but yeah. Nasdaq isn't giving it away any weakness to shorten too. I'm looking at SPOs. It's just I haven't traded it in so long. Feels uncomfortable.
Like what's happening on the SPOs right now is they're continuously buying into these highs. Okay, right? Like it's a bit tough to be on the short on that sense, but like they're not fully continuing like a strong bullish like expansion from all these buys into the high. So it's like a little exhaustive. It's a pretty bullish DOM right now, though, on most fronts. Like every time you get like a big seller, they're using it as liquidity to just pop it up a little higher. Let's see if this NAS wants to actually start selling a touch. Can we do it?
35, 36, just sorry, 35, 36, yeah, on Nasdaq. It just keeps offering. That can be a good short. It's just considering it's too bullish, it might head fake into like the 40, 50 area. But it might be one of those scenarios where you gotta do it twice.
It's just Nasdaq's a bit tougher right now on the
Yeah,
on the
on
sell.
the sell.
Just look at this S&P on this DOM. Like you have 300s coming on the offer, 400 just eats it up. Pathetic. If SPOs offer 58, great. You know, like that's gonna be the sign for the downside sweep, but like 500 coming in on the offer right now, not really doing anything. Like 600 on the offer here. They're trying to re-offer continuously 61 quarter and just gets eaten up. Like, fuck. It's not a great sign for the seller. NAS is building up like decent positive delta, but again, the offer of this is not like I don't see that strong of an offer.
It's building stops into the 48 area.
Yeah, for sure. I'm still along the NAS. These SPOs, I might get fleeced on it. We'll see.
I'm gonna short it here, 40, 48.
That was an interesting offer, but are we going to offer 61 quarter where they threw in about 700 at the bid traders? So far, no.
On the Egypt's footing here, the Ukrainian military says that has destroyed a Russian space communications center in the occupied Crimea in an attack this week.
NASDAQ, very
And
strong.
with base footing in around 50 seconds time, we'll be looking out for Farm University Michigan for June, with the headline is expected to
Oh
revolve
shit, I
higher
got
65
news.
spots 8 from the initial
50
65 spot
seconds.
6. And of course, within this, attention, as always, will be on the inflation expectation.
Pause.
For the 1 year last time was 3.3%, with the longer term 5 to 10 year 3.1%.
I'll take one more off into 148.
Ten seconds.
Yeah, shit. Whoa.
68 spot 2, 68 spot 2, revised higher from 65 spot 6. Conditions 65 spot 9, revised from initial 62.5. Expectations 69 spot 6, also revised higher from initial 67 spot 6. Meanwhile, inflation expectations 1 year ahead revised down to 3%. From initial 3.3%. Longer term 5 to 10 year also revised down to 3% from the initial 3.1%. Just going over that data again there. Headline revised higher to 68.2% from the initial 65.6% and above expectations of 65.8. Current condition revised to 65.9 from 62.5 and expectations to 69.6 from 67.6. Meanwhile, inflation expectations both revised lower, with 1 year 3% from 3.3% and the 5 year 3% from 3.1%.
Monster long, Vic. Let's go, bro. Great trade.
Yeah. Freaking overnight highs right now. This thing's just running.
Yeah.
Jeez. Ooh, whoa. New highs, overnight highs at least on this NAS. S&P trying to catch bids. Let's see what happens into this like mid 70. But it's a point of interest for the sell side, if you will. If we bid through it, great. A lot of buying on this. They're just like eating up. This is a freaking classic Friday. That's what I like to see.
Yeah.
This S&P is just like running. Not long the spoos. Flatten the NQ already. Okay with that. These spoos like shit. I don't even like where to jump on. Do not fade it. I tried once. Can see they're constantly buying this thing. What's the all-time high on this Nasdaq? Oops. Wrong chart.
240 to 250, I
It's like
think.
370 or something. Yeah, somewhere 370. Okay, we're not that close.
Oh,
The
3, yeah.
S&P all-time high is pretty close.
BCB's
Like
Campos
89 or
Neto
something.
says that when you make adjustments on the revenue side, you end up breaking relationships on the tax side and creating legal uncertainty. Of course, likely a veiled reference to
It's so
the
close, that all-time high on the SPOOs. Just go freaking trade it. A lot of buying is trying to come into that 77 on the SPOOs. Let's see. Brr. This is a fun market. Don't look to sell this thing, especially on this kind of move, people. You will get your bum handed to you. Let's see. I think like the SPOOs can climb into this 84, 85 area, honestly. That was the area that I sold pre-market whenever we were printing those all-time highs. You guys remember that? A few rotations here into this high on NASDAQ. Let's see. NASDAQ honestly is coming into like where the volume's starting to drop off around this 230, 240 area.
You've been running through every resistance, so if you're leaning on the level to fade, it's not working today. It's not gonna work. You just need to see some sellers, some stops being accumulated. That will be like 2 or 3 pushes into and out of the level before you start fading. Right now, it's just not worth it. I missed
Yeah,
the big long and I tried the short twice. It didn't work, so I'm just sitting on the sidelines right now.
yeah, trying to sell this, like,
Yeah.
I don't know about that, but I think they just let the S&P trade a freaking all-time high.
And a bit more here from the BCB chief says the governments and central banks must make clear that markets must operate more freely. More. They're starting to
gonna catch up here, but Nasdaq is like, I don't know, every time they just like rebid the shit out of it. Right now, like 240 is important. I'm not saying start getting on the short side here, but it's a very, very important region. 700, they're trying to offer the spoos right now at 81, a little sooner than I would have wanted maybe. Come on, just scoot into all-time highs. Just quick little kiss of all-time highs. I haven't looked at any of the chat or any of these questions. I'm just monitoring what's going on. This is a freaking just like shot rally. Like I wish I was long the spoos from that area, but the spoos started catching the bid earlier, and then Nasdaq, like it was stalling out. They were getting stuck into those lows, and I was like, okay, well, if there's gonna be a reconvergence of these two silly little assets, just buy Nasdaq. Here comes the spoos. Run that, run deuce. You have the 84 in you, brother. Nasdaq just like keeps like making these partial highs here. S&P very close to a very important area that was sold pretty aggressively many moons ago when we traded into the all-time highs. Nasdaq rotating here. If Nasdaq catches a bit above this, like maybe 260 area, I think there's just more acceptance higher where we can just like run the shit out of this market.
Yeah, really get into the all-time high area.
But just this like freaking vertical pop higher, a little crazy. Even as I'm watching it, I'm like, what the hell? Not that I want to like start selling it. Don't get me wrong. It's just it's a little much. I closed that Nas long way too early. S&P wants that all-time high, man.
Nasdaq almost at 260. Upper side they didn't come today. We're off. No offers in this market. That's good. Like if you got on the long, honestly, it was just a one trade type of day. You get long, open, perfect. So if you didn't catch the long, it's tough to fade because there are just not many opportunities.
Yeah, there's not really much else to do right now.
Yeah.
I'll answer some of these questions because like, okay, I tried to short once on the spoos at that like 63 on some micros because like I was just long the Nasdaq from the freaking start. So I don't wanna go against this realistically. S&P, the SPOO's not at all-time highs just yet. Like we might be on all-time highs on like the SPY and shit. I don't know what that's at. Yeah, it is. Well, 550. Well, Tesla, these call options from earlier on this week are doing extremely well. They're all in the money right now. When you have negative delta on the TPO, does that mean we are looking to hold for a long to take out the shorts? If I have like negative delta like that 58, like that was a very shallow pullback area, honestly, to continue this like momentum move. So like when I was watching that 58, it just became like when you have like negative delta and you're above it, it's just telling you that a lot of people at the bid traded where realistically we're expanding higher. Eighty-four, 85 is very big on the S&P. It's a big level. I'm not saying short it, I'm just observing. But I do have some NASDAQ profits.
So why not short 250?
Here's that 84, 85 on these silly little spoos. Oh, that's a fucking offer, jeez.
Yeah, I caught some of the offer 256 on NQ. This is third time trying the short early. 285 and I think it was like one something. I tried the short, both didn't work. This one was just a lot of buying accumulating into this top. Tried it small. Tough missing that early first move, honestly. So it's not much to do other than watch and not get killed.
Yeah.
Uh,
84, 85, very important big region here on these spoos. So I gotta remember these like big order flow areas, right? I don't know how far it goes realistically, but
It's not gonna go very far. I think this is just an initial first push. You know, it's probably gonna get retested, then sold back into again. I don't think like this is the move. For deeper pullback, we'll need like a lot of back and forth, you know, to build stops. It's just an initial first move that went from 250 to like 220 is decent enough. The ones prior didn't even go 5 points in my direction, so
the ones prior just like blew right through those stops. If you're
yes.
that's like that's like when I was short this like 63 now on the spoos. Like news comes out, I like blink and it's like minus a billion points. That's how Nasdaq felt. 84, 85 trades on the spoos. That's what you want to see. If you guys have any like specific questions, just put them in the Q&A area. On the spoos, like if we've topped out, we offer this 72 area and we just like continue realistically. Wait 1 second. 1 second, people. Let me just pause this.
Just for the metals watchers, India government says production of iron ore was up 4%. That took it to 52 MMT in the April to May period.
I have a lot of questions. Number one, how dare I? It's just the life I live. Like I read from somewhere saying that such big pullbacks and crazy trends are caused by the avalanche of trailing stuff. Yeah, generally speaking, if you
release number of slots to limit any possible distortion of competition in the sector.
If you consider like if you consider cascading stops, like just like the classic theory of seeing prices continuously like rallying or dropping, people are going to be hiding their stops like higher and higher and higher. These moves, like when you get such an expansive move, you're gonna see some kind of profit taking, you're gonna see some kind of stop movement, right? Now, trying to pinpoint that is something completely different, realistically, because these are harder things to identify. But I'll show you, I guess, two ways, if you will. Sorry, this is just paused right now. I'm just trying to find something. If I'm looking for the longs on like the spoos, I'd want to see, I don't know, the rallying that happened down to that area that just got like absorbed and rebid. So those are like two strong areas. S&P, like the futures, they haven't necessarily traded into an all-time high just yet. Probably if you back adjusted, they have, but
Bit of venture news for CVX Chevron. Supreme Court overturned Chevron ruling in a blow to agency power. It's going to Bloomberg News.
it's just loading right now, sorry.
A bit more detail here from other.
Okay, so the idea behind
against challenged fishing
for these guys to fail, like at that 84, 85 on the spoos. If you guys, I don't know if you remember or not, but from the last high area that we had, I was looking at that region for a short. Let's see, this was before the contract change. Back into these highs pre-market, right? So if you take a look at what happened here on June 19th, this is why this is a major target region. Not only because we saw prices like cascading below and just get nuked from that area, but also like this is the point where they accumulated all of this imbalance. You've got an area of a naked point of control that hasn't been traded for weeks now. So theoretically, I'd expect to see some kind of reaction from that area. Now, will it crumble everything in its path? Probably not. But it's a good spot to look for some of this like downside momentum. Honestly, if they fail here again, slight lower high like this and on the reoffer, I think this is a freaking short, people. Like maybe tag 72 or maybe even lower. But I like these shorts into these areas. There's a big buyer that stepped in at 76, but like, to hell with them. The spool. Can't tell you guys nothing. Spoos. Now start layering in some shorts on Nas too. Like, Fat, are you short of that 250, right?
56 average.
Nice. Mine was around there too the first time, but like, fuck, I think I might add into this.
Down here too, mid-40s, they're trying to offer.
So I'm trying to do on these micros. I've already taken some off. I don't mind risking some more. I'm just trading micros here on the shit on the session. Okay, I don't have to add that many. A lot of buy delta shaping up. I feel like I missed a bunch of questions that you guys might have been talking about in the, what's it called, in the chat. I gotta scroll through like 7 billion things. I was just watching this thing just go constant bid. Look, okay, you're printing a lot of volume into these highs. This 260 is the barrier before we just like drop off completely in volume into all-time highs on the NASDAQ. Like, if I just open this up, this is what we were talking about yesterday, actually, in our call. You can see, where the hell is this? You can see why I was looking for the longs, I guess, today. I was looking a little lower. Okay, let's not go crazy, but I was looking for a bit lower. A lot of volume gets created into this area. And what happens is that we hold a decent bid. Okay, great, right? Like long side to continue. But another thing to understand here with this Nasdaq is that volume completely drops off at this region over here into 260 before we have like a 110-point rally. Same thing here, volume very heavy, right? Nice little other ledge at 250 or so. 250 to 260 for me is a very, very important area. You also have this marker. If you can actually drop under 220, right, I think that we can complete a lot of this auction, maybe even into 140, 160, possibly, right? That'd be great. Spoos are attempting to make a slight new low on this right now. I like that, but 72 is a pretty big target.
If you try the Nasdaq short anywhere, like either low mid 50s or mid 40s, this is an area where, you know, they're getting stuck here down into like 16, 15. A lot of big selling came and it's rebounding. You should cover a lot here. I think this is it. I think we're gonna see that high again. I'm
No!
still holding. I'm still holding a piece of that short.
Yeah, these guys bid the shit out of that area here on these spoos too.
Oh no, I'm not looking at spoos up at all, Vic. Maybe like they're out of sync. Let me just look here. Damn, spoos is just spoozing. You're trying to short spoos, Vic.
No, I am short spoos. I want to add into it. Sorry, let me just reload these charts. I'm sure it's spoos. I want to add into it. Short Nas too.
Nice, nice. It's
Get in
easier
line
to
with some
short
of
when you have like a
antitrust regulators
profit
asked
from
companies
prior.
views on exclusivity clauses
It
in
helps.
Microsoft OpenAI partnership, as well as the
Like a
impact
monster
on
move on
competition, according to the EU trade chief messenger
But
for MSFT. EU will not
I got
investigate
filled out like
the
190 on the
deal under
last
merger
lot
rules
on
as there is no
Nasdaq. Not that I'm
control.
complaining, but the
According
thing
to
ran
messenger.
to
Again, that
another
confirms
100
some
point, or
reporting
not
from
100, but
this
another
week.
like 70, 80
EU
points
is
above
looking into
that.
practices where the company acquires another company mainly for its talent.
With the spoos down to that 52, like it was pretty much right off the open. And I don't know. I think it was a gift that Nasdaq was just like rotating into that low because the spoos just like rebid the shit out of this, and then look what happened. It was a solid area, but like no real pullbacks. I was trying to run a Nasdaq long from yesterday on the overnight session. It was doing pretty well, and then just like you saw what happened pre-market. I was like, ah, shit. A lot of delta building up here on the Nasdaq, specifically getting absorbed into these highs. you have this blockade around 220 start of low volume as well as a distribution lower. If that cracks, then we reverse a large portion of this move. Hmm. 80 had a large at the ask trade, or sorry, 83 quarter has a sticky point. You can see 900 negative delta there. So you son of a bitch.
Big sell again here, 24. Seller's trying again from the mid 40s on Nasdaq. Let's go. Come on, show us something.
New lows, new lows, new lows, new lows. I don't like how the sell side just like kind of flatlines a little right now. We need a little more oomph. $77 area trading. Come on, you stupid market. New lows on that. That's good though.
Yeah. That's good.
Ah, shit. Come on. The driving force behind these sellers is not super sexy right now. Nice. You guys are grabbing
Feel-
decent pieces of these shorts.
The beat down they took pre-market and in the morning is still lingering.
Yeah. This thing rallied from like pretty much 50 on the spoos all the way up to it's up like 35 points, let's call it. Like, geez, pretty much like just straight vertical line higher.
From 2040 on Nasdaq, I think that's the area you bought, and to 2260. So damn, 220 point rally.
Well, I caught about like 150 on the upside, and then now about 50 or so on the downside. So Nasdaq has been fantastic today. Even if you like shorted like let's say once, right, throughout this like whole rally, if you learn your lesson, great. If you continue to short it, then
Yeah, that's when you. I'm okay with all the shorts that I took. Honestly, I feel like on this rally up like 3 shorts until I got the third one going was good. Like,
that's not that bad. So like 2 attempts that like didn't work out. Okay, fine.
yeah.
Right? It's not like you were going short, 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 short. Like Nas under this 220, but like Let's see that 180. Spoos can't offer the 77, which kind of sucks. It was like from an order flow perspective on this DOM as well, as this thing was just like rallying. Every time someone threw in a large short, they just like ate them up. There's a big seller down at this like 78 again on these spoos, which I don't love. They're fucking trading him again. Come on, offer him. Oh, you son of a bitch. Let's start taking some of this off more. If it
Let's
goes
go
away.
Nasdaq. Nasdaq is trying to. Let's go 160.
How many of these do I have now? What is that? Too many. Come on, trade a new fucking low, jeez. Alright,
Flat Nasdaq. That was what I needed.
just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's a good move, right? Like right now, look at all this in the 76. Honestly, I might just have to do one of these and another one because just limiting some of the exposure here because 76, they're just like offering at the bid, and then come on. There you go. There you go. This is a big target I liked around that 180 on the NASDAQ, around this like 72, 73 area on the spoos. I'll buy a few more here. And then how many am I left with? 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. If we can offer this 72, eyes are into that mid 60. You can see where all this positive delta sits, right? And then that low 60 where they got trapped. $72, very important area here. NASDAQ has been
Magnificent. A lot of moves.
yeah.
A lot of moves, wider ranges. You just need to get on its good side. That's it.
Absolute fiends on that short. Fuck, there's no Euro tonight. God damn it. Now I gotta get drunk without watching soccer. Curse, man. It's a gift and a curse. Yeah, it's been a really good week, honestly.
It's good.
Ended on a good note before we have a week of what's it called?
Boredom. Low volume choppiness. Yeah,
we can
next week.
say next week. Bulls can kiss my butt. But 72, it's not like it's a big target for no reason, right? I don't mind what happens on the rest of these. I've taken a decent piece. Okay, fine. I'll take one more out just to cut down some of this risk. If we can topple under the 72, that'd be fantastic, realistically. Look at the size of this IB.
Yeah, man.
That's
Huge
a
day.
lot. Volume into the highs. If C period can close below this IB high, okay, fantastic. But still the potential to pop these highs. Yeah, shit, what did I do? Let me know if you have any questions. I'm honestly just gonna leave this as is. This bet's pretty freaking strong. Not on NASDAQ though. NASDAQ's like still kind of struggling. What the hell is going on here? That's exactly right, Jeff. Like next week, I feel like if you trade more than like 2 trades per day, and the only 2 days that are open are Monday and Tuesday, realistically. So like those are the full days. Friday's a full day, but like after 2 full, like not full, but like the stock market is going to be fully closed Wednesday, Thursday. After those 2 days, then you come back on Friday. Like, what are you realistically expecting? There could be just like a grind higher. Okay, great, whatever. But realistically, like trading next week, I think it's going to be amateur hour. You're going to have all the noobs all the interns at the desks that are moving shit. Everyone else that actually is more seasoned or professional is probably in the Hamptons getting drunk.
Sell side pressure coming in. Let's go.
This shit. NASDAQ a lot weaker. They still can't offer that 72 though. NASDAQ made a new low temporarily.
You wanna do the full Vic?
Through the 1,000 pages. I wrote a number down somewhere that I need, but if I stop now. Should I have it? Yeah, let's do this pool. I like to see these guys, like my target on, I mean, I'll look for more on this NAS into like 140, 135, and then see if it just like runs, honestly. Like if this reverses the whole move, then fantastic. But you need to start to see a little more weakness on the spoos for that. How I found the 72 area on these on the spoos. So going back in time, well, there's a decent amount of delta there. Okay, fair, but also if you take a look at pretty much this area right here, kind of volume drop off, the start of all of this imbalanced delta. So my area was around 72, 74, to be honest. Today, they rebid it fairly aggressively as well. Let me see if I can find that info somewhere. is dominance. But like, yeah, you see like the imbalances that I just showed you on that, like what's this thing called? Delta chart. It's pretty much from where? From that like last downside move.
You're almost getting into that target, like 140, 130 on NASDAQ. I think like if you're running shorts, great. You know, just careful around these areas. Value area low. You know, these buyers are gonna come like try it at some point. I don't think we're just gonna go like head straight down back into like 240. We have retraced a decent portion of the move. So it's like as you approach the next 10, 15 points on NASDAQ, if you're running a short, consider maybe taking some off. Unless you want to YOLO it, that's absolutely fine as well. Yeah, I'm sitting on the sideline. I'll look for a long, honestly, if it presents itself. If I see a lot of back and forth into this area, I might jump on along. But just right now, no trades.
July 4th. So next week, right? July 4th happens to be on Thursday. So Wednesday is July 3rd. Markets are like stock markets are gonna be closed both those days, right? Like on the futures, they close earlier, but like you're trading a half day. It's just not tradable. Don't bother with them, right? Monday, Tuesday, they're open full day. Friday, they're open full day again. But after 2 days of nothing, you're gonna trade Friday. I wouldn't do that, honestly. Like they're going like turbo long weekend if they haven't left already for the week. Monday, Tuesday, full days. There could be some moves, but realistically suppressed volume, right? That's what we're looking at. 69 trades, 68. Come on, you little bastard. 140 trades on the Nasdaq. A lot of positive delta there.
We'll just call out TRADEPRO Academy in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Sorry, I didn't realize I was on mute.
No worries.
Ooh, great day, guys. Good work. Wow.
The exit was great too. Here's some more profit on SPOOs. There you go. That's it. Those are highs. We are finished with this. If we can trade 60, that'd be great.
Thank you for the numbers, Boxy.
My
Appreciate
pleasure.
it. You wanna do a wrap up now?
I do. So, bull market has largely worked its way pretty far down. I had a nice down run. We've kind of balanced out now. Could be ranging, but up to about 10-15 or so, we had just a nice series of lower lows, lower highs, with a good down run. Trends are still down. Price actions come back in between them, but we're below the VWAP by about 50 cents or so. So if you're going to trade it this afternoon, monitor your risk, trade like a trade pro, and preserve that capital. Gentlemen, thanks for another great day, another great week. I hope you gentlemen have a great rest of the day, a great weekend, and a great holiday week. And that goes for all of TRADEPRO Academy. And we will see everybody a week from Monday. Ciao.
Take care, Boxy. Have fun, brother. The mountains. 80% life positive, guys. Great work. You know, good job, like running shorts, running longs. It was a great day today, honestly, to be trading. A lot of moves up and down, so definitely a lot of opportunity. Vic, good job, bro. You know, finding bottom stops, everything today. And yeah, like we'll see how Nasdaq is kind of approaching an area that I like, 220, 230. They're kind of attempting a bid right now. On the way down, I'll reevaluate and see if I can get on along. Right now, I'm just like not seeing any other play. Either short like from above, or you're long from below trying to run it. But as of right now, no new trades for me. And yeah, we'll do it again on Monday. Vic, back to you, bro.
Yeah, solid day today. I don't know what I was expecting. I wasn't expecting much, but we picked out the lows on the NQ, the highs on the SPOOs, and the NQ. And let's see if we can get a little move lower. But like this was one of the big targets. You can see all this positive delta. Remember, there was 2,000 resting on the ask. They just rebid the shit out of it on that pop on the news, and now they're holding. Okay, great. So there's still some bullish momentum realistically above this 60. I'd like to see them fail it because I'm short, but it doesn't mean anything. I'll try and run the rest of these and then see where it goes. Trying to run some on NASDAQ. If NASDAQ completely just recovers the whole upside, like this market's pretty toast next week. I think that we've probably topped for next week as well, realistically. And next week, like I said, holiday week, right? Holiday weeks, like, yeah, there could be some moves here and there, but like so not worth it. Like it's not, because if it's just like choppy and shit, which most likely it is, there's a small chance of having like decent swings. Then you're sitting there waiting for something to come out that's most likely not going to come out. Now, if it does great. But like you've probably taken like 15 paper cuts until it does. And I'd rather just trade on normal days when everything's good. You have your expected volume, volatility, all that shit. So next week, fully just gonna be gone. I'm gonna look at the markets on Discord probably Monday, Tuesday, but everything else is just like completely off the radar. I don't care about any of the movement next week. It's just not worth it. Like we've had an amazing week. We don't want to tarnish it with potential choppiness next week. So with that being said, enjoy the weekend. I know it's Canada Day on Monday. If anyone's Canadian, well done. You'll have a long weekend, but if anyone's trading, you're gonna have an extra long weekend. So even if you trade Monday, Tuesday, don't bother on Friday. Just leave from Wednesday, realistically, and let's see if we can get this thing back down to the ground. So we're pretty much at that 60 area, 61. If we can offer this, that'd be fantastic. So let's go from there, people. Great day in the books. I hope you guys enjoyed this stream. And thank you to our members for showing out today. And here goes more downside. So well done, people. I'll be in Discord into the afternoon, see what the hell's going on, but I think I'm probably done. So we'll go from there. Chat soon and take care. Have a good weekend.